Hello, everybody. Uh, as promised, I'm going to do another talk over a parable of Jesus. And today we're going to look at the barren fig tree. It's found in Luke chapter 13, 6 through 9. Now, the parable of the barren fig tree in Luke chapter 13 never really raised any question from me until I thought about, why did Jesus use this parable here? What was behind the parable? Well, Jesus was asked a question about the Galileans that Pilate had put down brutally in a bloody, basically a murder during the time of their sacrifice. And secular history really doesn't say much about this at all, about the incident, but they also say it's not really out of the realm of Pilate doing something like this. And Jesus brings up those that die from Tyre and Siloam and falling on them and killing them. And Jesus tells them that all should repent before it's too late. And then he tells them about a parable about the barren fig tree. And the man, he says, has a fig tree and he plants it, he cultivates it and makes sure that it's been taken care of. And the man comes out every year for 3 years looking for figs and he finds none. And finally, after the third year, the man calls the groundkeeper and he says, cut it down. Why should it even take up space? Why is it even in the dirt for? It's not doing anything for me. It's not producing any figs. Get rid of it. But the groundskeeper pleads for the barren fig tree. And he says, let me give it a little bit more special treatment. Let me give it a little bit more fertilizer. Let me add more soil around to it and let me really work with it and see if it will bear fruit next year. And if not, then we'll get rid of it. So the man says, okay. Well, we really don't know if the fig tree is cut down or if it bears fruit. We hope it bears fruit, but we really don't know. But we need to look at who the characters are in this parable. Obviously, the man, the owner of the fig tree, is God. And he's the one that plants or lets us be born. And Paul tells his listeners in Athens that in him we live, of course, in God, we live, move, and exist, and are, or literally are. Basically, we're nothing without God. And Paul says we are because of him. Well, some say the tree is man, and maybe mankind in general, but I like to kind of think that Jesus is talking about maybe those who have been born again. Now, you might go ahead and say that this parable does extend to all, but I'm going to lean towards more that it belongs to and states. Excuse me. I think I'm going to lean more to it being about Christians, because God Himself plants us. He calls us out, and we respond to His calling, and He brings us in, and He plants us. Now, when we're planted as a Christian, God expects us to bear fruit. He expects to find fruit on our branches, doesn't He? And the vine keeper is Jesus. Jesus once said that I am the vine and you are the branches. Without Him, without Jesus, we can't bear fruit. And He says if there is none that is bearing fruit, God will trim or cut them off. Meaning God expects results, the fruit. And there's been some speculation over what this fruit might mean, but I believe it's a fruit of the Spirit. Because if you think is fruit in baptizing those to come to Jesus, and I'm not doing a very good job because I have never personally baptized anyone. And I don't know a whole lot of people that has baptized a lot. I know there's some preachers that has, but I don't think that's what that fruit means. I think it really means bearing fruit of the Spirit. And if we're not being fruitful, then I think that we are in jeopardy of losing our place. And I think if we're in that situation, I think we might need to be listening to Jesus as he may be advocating on our behalf, saying, let me work with him or her just a little bit more. Let me see if I can't get him or her to bear a little bit more fruit. The only way we can really hear of what God is wanting us to do is to read his word, to open it up, to look at it, to ingest it, to see what it has to say about what we need to do with our lives and our everyday lives and how we need to treat each other and how we need to look at God. That's the only way we're going to be able to know what to do. And if we read something in there that we need to do, then we need to put it into practice. Well, it's a parable that we all need to hear, isn't it? None of us wants to be the barren fig tree. I don't think there's any Christian out there that if you come up to them and say, are you a barren fig tree? They're going to say, no, I'm not. But sometimes we might need to be told that we need to bear fruit. A friend of mine that preaches, sometimes I tell him that he steps on my toes. And he looks at me and says, it's not me that stepped on your toes. It's God wanting you to pay attention. And isn't that the way it is? God uses people all the time to try to get you and I to pay attention to him. Jesus tried to get the Israelites to pay attention to him before it was too late. I wonder if he is up there advocating on our behalf right now, saying, let me give them another year. Let me work with them a little bit more. Let me give them just a little bit more fertilizer. Let me do something different with the soil. Just give them one more year to produce fruit. Unfortunately, time may not be on our side. Because you see, the vine keeper said that if it didn't bear fruit the next year after he does everything that he wants to do, he's not going to stand in the way of the owner getting rid of it. I pray that you are doing good, and I pray that you are leading a Christian life, and I hope that this has been uplifting for you. Until next time, God bless. Hello.